So I'm so glad that we could have you here with us today, Claudia. Claudia, you are a rock star.
Thank you.
Literally a rock star because I know in your chapter you kind of fell into STEM, which is what we
Hmm.
talked about, and you have so many different pathways to get there. Before we even dive into any of that, first things first, tell me about your David Bowie phase, because I know that started off the entire thing.
Oh my God, that's a great question. In high school, I really loved the classic rock
Yeah.
station,
Hmm.
like the radio station. I got really into David Bowie. And David Bowie, he's got like all of his songs, like so many of them have themes about outer space, and
You
he just
do.
made it sound so cool. And
Yeah,
then with the outfits and everything,
he
like
can
he
do
just
that.
made it so glamorous. And like the music was good too, but like the aesthetics of everything
Hmm.
and like, it was very different to like the pop music at the time. Like when I was in
Right.
high school, I was like, I would love I still love David
Yeah.
Bowie. Um, but yeah, like that's what started me into astrophysics. Like I was
Hmm.
always good at math. I liked physics,
Hmm.
but I've never been good at like the engineering side. I've never been good
Hmm.
at like the hands-on stuff. I've always been
Right.
good at like the theory.
Hmm.
And so in trying to like pick a physics field, I just knew that David Bowie made space sound
Yeah.
really cool. So I
Yeah,
was like,
and
all
that's
right.
all you need, right? That you
Yeah,
just need that inspiration and
exactly.
you have a soundtrack to that part
Hmm.
of your life. So
Oh yeah,
totally,
life on
totally
Mars.
perfect.
We got everything. And like it worked out. Like, astrophysics, like the space stuff is just as
Hmm.
cool as he was talking about.
You see,
So
he knew what he was talking about,
yeah.
right? He knew. That's the thing. So tell us about bit about what you do in your job now. Like, what is that all about?
Yeah. So I currently work for a defense contractor.
Mm-hmm.
I basically do what I was doing in grad school, just
Ah.
not in like an astrophysics context.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my grad school research, my PhD project was light scattering on
Nice.
geysers of one of like Saturn's moons.
Nice.
And basically, that's like a remote sensing problem. You're just trying to figure out what
Mm-hmm.
particles you have. And so that's applicable to a lot of things that like the government needs, any kind of like reconnaissance or like they can do it for like chemical weapons
Mm.
detection. They can do it for like smog, any kind of bunch of
Right.
particles you're trying to figure out what they are. And so my current job, I use it for like missile detection. So
Nice.
it's very much like a defense, fully defense, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the same concept, same electromagnetism, first principles and everything. Just no longer dealing with like space volcanoes.
So you had a little bit of a switch there. But you see,
Hmm.
it applies, like it
It
always
applies.
applies, right?
Exactly.
And that's one of the beautiful things about STEM is that you can always reapply certain things. The principles remain the same. You just may
Hmm.
adjust your environments a little bit. So I
Exactly.
absolutely love that you can do that pivot and that jump and that change without
Hmm.
having to, I would say, change too much.
Yeah, exactly. You just specialize in the tool and then you can apply it to any kind of problem. Any kind
That's
of small
cool.
particle, that's my job.
Nice. That's so cool. So tell me a little bit about why you decided to write this chapter because I know when you were writing the chapter, we were going through stuff and you're like, I want to add some more stuff. I want to
Hmm.
help people. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Honestly, like I've always been an open book. I'm very
Yes.
extroverted. I love talking to people and I love volunteering. Like I
Mhm.
volunteer all the time, especially with like women in STEM causes, girls in
Nice.
STEM causes. And so the idea that I could combine like
Yeah.
my love of talking and explaining things and then do it in a way that could possibly like inspire people or help people or get more girls into STEM. Like it was just everything kind of combined into
Nice.
like the perfect thing. So yeah, I was a little hesitant at first because I really
Mhm.
didn't know how in depth to go because like my story has meandered a little bit. Like my path was
Mhm.
not linear. And so I didn't know how deep in the weeds I should get. I definitely don't want to discourage anyone from joining STEM,
Right.
but like obviously I wish I knew like the
God,
pros and
yes.
the cons. So,
Yeah. Like
yeah.
that would I think for a lot of women in some of these fields, if they knew a little bit more about what they were getting into, they may have
Hmm.
changed their trajectory a little bit, and
Exactly.
they may have honestly done a little more research or a little prepared themselves a little bit more. Because I think when
Hmm.
you get thrown into this, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
It is a little overwhelming when you don't know what to expect. But
Yes,
yeah,
it.
if I had someone who could just show me the ropes or at least
Mm-hmm.
like, explain a little bit,
Yes.
like give me like a preview of what it might look like, that would have been very helpful. So the chapter was kind of like my version of doing that.
Yes, and thank you so much for passing along your information to so many people out there because astrophysics, sometimes people hear that and they're like, mm-mm, I can't do that. It's not for me. It's not for me.
It's a
But
little daunting.
yeah, it is. It is. And then you're like, wait, David Bowie did it.
It's always David Bowie.
I know
Yeah.
it. It just goes back to him, right? All the time.
Hmm.
All the time. But I know you did a lot of you switched of your careers. Like you started off being a chef
Hmm.
and then you went into astrophysics. And I know that was a huge change, not just for you, but for your teachers. Because
Oh yeah.
I remember you were talking about that in your chapter, and I was like, why are the teachers discouraging her? You know,
Hmm.
why are they putting her down and saying, she can't do this? They are the ones that are supposed to be uplifting, you know
Hmm.
helping us to move forward.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so glad that you put that in the chapter because there may be somebody else going through something similar or, trying to make that switch in terms of those careers. So, like, I loved that you included all of that.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and that you were able to write about it because I know sometimes it's difficult for people to put those words down on paper and just
Hmm.
get everything together and like make sure it makes sense. But yours made sense, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to get pigeonholed. And so
Hmm.
like right in culinary school, like people assume you're in
Right.
culinary school for like one reason only, and that's
Yeah.
to be a chef, which like
Hmm.
can't blame them for that. Like that's the whole point of it. Um, and so yeah, the pivot to astrophysics, understandably, some people were like, are you really cut out for that? And like
Yeah.
to be fair, like I didn't know what I was getting into.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was a little discouraging because like I wasn't pigeonholing myself.
Hmm.
So it was kind of weird to experience it from like an outward source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know as well you kind of spoke a little bit about the different environments that you had to go
Hmm.
through. And I didn't think about that. Like when people make that switch or they make that transition, you are basically joining a new community.
Hmm.
And each community has all of their quirks and all of their um not so great things in life that
Yeah.
they expect you to try and fit in. And I know we talked a little bit about this in terms of making sure that you, I would say, know your value.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think science is very collaborative and
Hmm.
it's very much based on networking. And so like if you happen to get unlucky like I did a couple of times, like it makes it a lot harder to do the
Hmm.
work and to want to do the work when you don't have like the collaboration or the
Right.
network to like help you. But then when you find like a very welcoming environment,
Yes.
oh my God, it's the best thing ever
Yeah, it
because
is.
everything is a million times easier and the ideas are flowing because like you're collaborating and
Hmm.
everyone's like willing to hear your input. They're very inviting, they want to hear your input.
Right.
So the culture really does matter. And one thing I know now, I haven't gone through it, is you're right, like you have to know your value because if you don't, like you
Yeah.
just start absorbing whatever everyone else is saying.
Especially those negative aspects and,
Hmm.
trying to put you down. And that's what. I really don't want to use this word, but that's what helps a lot of women get out of the system.
Yep.
And it throws them out, and then they're like, they want to pivot, they want to do something else because they just can't do the environment anymore. It's too much
Mm-hmm.
of a struggle. Like, why am I struggling here when I could be in another environment, thriving or breaking,
Exactly.
all those barriers and actually being promoted and recognized for the work that I do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think, especially in these STEM industries, that a lot of women face. And I'm so glad that you spoke about it in the book, like, real life examples of how we could actually overcome that and being able to look inside of ourselves and just be aware of that because I think we get lost in trying to fit in and
Mm-hmm.
trying to, be part of the community because we're like, well, we're in this community now, so we have to look a particular way or act a
Yep.
particular way or do everything else that everybody else is doing. And that's so not true.
Yeah. And once you lose yourself, then everything just kind of follows. Like
Yes.
it really spirals from there. So you gotta make sure that you know what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or else, yeah, like I definitely lost like a good bit of my
Mm-hmm.
personality early in grad school. I went blonde.
Yeah,
Like
well, I'm
I'm
sure you would
fully
have
a
rocked
virgin.
it though. Sure you
Thank you.
would.
But like I'm not like blonde. That's not how I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I should look. It's not who like I don't feel the most me when I'm blonde.
Yeah.
But I was doing it to not be me. I
Yeah.
was doing it to fit into the ideals of the place I was in, trying to not stick out as much as I felt I
Right.
was. And like something as simple as hair color, like
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't think that it would fully like you don't really realize how important it is until it's
Mm-hmm.
gone. And
Yeah.
then, you start dressing differently, you
Right.
start saying different things, and you start, not answering questions in class. And like you
Mm-hmm.
just start like making yourself smaller and smaller
Right.
and like, trying not to make waves. And it's just like at that point, you're just miserable on all
Yeah.
fronts. It
Because
just is not, it doesn't go well.
it doesn't. You are there to make waves. Like that's your purpose in life. I'm sorry. That's it. You have to
Thank
be
you.
able to make the waves. You have to get the ideas flowing because you are the only one who can do that. Nobody else
Hmm.
can do that for you. So I'm so
Exactly.
glad that you put that and you put that in your chapter so that other people who may be going through something similar, you know,
Hmm.
they'd be like, okay, well, maybe I just need to take a step back and try and figure out what exactly is going on here and what
Exactly.
was important to me.
Hmm.
So I'm so glad that you put that in there. What would you say to like, especially because you have so many different backgrounds and you switched a bit. What would you say to people to get them inspired to actually, get into STEM or, if they were thinking about switching career paths, like
Hmm.
why should they get into STEM?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think it's such a rewarding career. Like I
Hmm.
absolutely love what I do. It like all of the stuff that like I've been through, like it's been totally worth it to
Yeah.
be at this point in my life. Like I love being able to explain things. I
Right.
love being able to solve hard problems. I love being like the subject matter expert in the room
Yeah.
on like my particular niche. And so I think like a career in STEM is just very rewarding.
Hmm.
But honestly, like I think that you shouldn't be limited. Like if you think that you might like it,
Hmm.
just give it a shot. Like you don't have to like fully switch careers, but like you can
Right.
join, like a robotics club, or you
Hmm.
could, start volunteering at like, a maker space or things like
Yeah.
that. Like you can uh you don't have to do as drastic of a switch as I did. I just fully went for it. Um, but there are smaller ways to do it. And I think that like if you're even thinking about it, then it's
Hmm.
worth a shot to
Yeah.
explore because for me, like my brain, I need to constantly be trying new things,
Right.
thinking about new things. And I know that like if I didn't explore this career path, like if I remained a chef,
Hmm.
I would like not only would it make me hate cooking,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it would just like, I just wouldn't have all the joy in my life that I have now. Like I would
Hmm.
just, I would be settling for a career that I wasn't passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think like no one should do that. If you have,
No.
if you even think you might like something, I think it's worth a shot.
And I think unless you take that shot, then you just really don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're always going to be having that question to the back of your mind. Should I have done that? Should I have not done that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless you take that shot, then you really can't say what would have happened or what did
Exactly.
happen. So take the chance. And one of the best chances that you can take is to actually read Claudia's chapter. It's chapter 8. It's actually called Falling into STEM because she did a little bit of a fall into it, but we're so glad that she did. Thank you, David, for that and pushing her in that direction. But her chapter is chapter 8 in the Empowering Women in STEM, the third book that's also in the series. Claudia, you are amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time, your energy, and for putting all that information in the chapter to help so many more people be aware of certain things and just get them thinking in that direction. Like you
Mm-hmm.
did an incredible job.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
for editing. Thank you for inviting me to write my chapter. Thank you for giving me a platform to share the story.
Yeah, definitely. It's my pleasure. Definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much for everything. Bye.
Bye.